So I made a video about men's mental health awareness, and this is the flip side. This is women's mental health awareness. And I know that men's mental health awareness isn't really accepted nowadays, whereas women's mental health is. But I still want to talk about it because I still think it's just as important. Many women and girls struggle with their mental health on so many different levels for so many different reasons. The pressure that is put on girls, like young girls nowadays, is absolutely insane. And it's quite disgusting, I must admit. These young girls in the world of 2022 are really struggling because the standard that you have to live up to be a girl nowadays is absolutely insane. I've been there, I've been one of those young girls. And to any young girls or women that are watching this video, I am here for you and I stand by you because I know exactly what you're going through. The expectations nowadays are so unrealistic and I am here for you.
Welcome back to the CWC podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here. We picked up 2 more subscribers. Let me go ahead and find my cheer. One more time. Yeah, we picked up 2 more. We're at 127 subs. And we got our first donation, our first paid donation on Anchor. So actually, let me give another cheer for that. It's a good friend of mine left $5 on there for us to kind of kickstart us. It's our first $5 that we've earned.
Friend.
That we've earned here on the program. Shout out to my man, James Grover. You know who you are, brother. I love you out there. Thank you. So with that being said, intros are done. Now, today's show, very important show. Let's talk about mental health. Now, this is a serious topic. I have mi hija here today. My daughter is back. Ayana's back. Man, we by popular demand, by the way, there were a lot of people. I'm serious. There were people that were telling me this. I went out. I was out in the fields, and there was a couple of people who saw the show, and they were like, "Your daughter was so great. You should have her on the show more often. Ayana, she really has her head on her shoulders." I was like, I was sitting there like, "Are they talking about my daughter?"
Anyways,
but no, Ayana's back by popular demand on a topic that she actually requested this topic a few weeks ago, and I thought it was a really good choice. And being in her demographic, it's she has a lot more insight on this particular topic that I do. So I actually have been studying the last couple of days on this topic and finding out just some stats, some figures, some data that I could kind of use to get a gauge of where are we with this mental health thing, and you know how big of a problem is it? Is social media contributing to it? Of course, I say yes to that. But if I look at my outline here, basically, I picked up some very interesting statistics from this research that I've done. So right now, just to give you these stats before we jump into the meat of the content. Right now, about 1 in 10 women between the ages of 18 to 39 are on some form of antidepressant medication. I think I mentioned that in one of the first shows that we did. I think we're talking about modern dating when I brought that up, because obviously mental health is going to play into your relationships because you're dealing with human beings, right? So 1 in 10 women, 18 to 39, are on some form of medication for or for their mental ill health. That number goes up to 1 in 5 for women who are 40 to 59. And then if you're 60 and up, it's 1 in 4. So as you get older, right, the numbers get smaller in terms of how many women this is or bigger in terms of how many women this is impacting. In percentage terms, right now in the United States, roughly 8% of the male population is on some form of antidepressant. 18% of the female population is on some form of antidepressant. The usage of antidepressants went up by about 20% across the board during the pandemic. I think we all figure out why that happened. They locked everybody in the house for 2 years and told you couldn't go anywhere. And what do you think that people were going to do? Alcoholism rose, domestic violence rose, antidepressant usage rose, drug usage rose, suicide rose. They weren't telling you all this stuff in the mainstream media.
Get your vaccine.
While it was going on, they were not telling y'all. I hope nobody was saying anything about any of this stuff. We're only finding it out now because I guess the people who were, dying from those other causes wasn't as important as what the narrative was at the time. So with that being said, 20% increase, not that surprising. There was a study done this year in 2022, and this ties into the social media question, where people who took a 1 week break from all social media, so they were like, I'm just going to turn off my phone. I'm not going to my laptop for a whole week. All of those people actually experienced an increase in their mood, their mental well-being, the way that they felt about themselves improved over that 1 week period of time. And I think that's just because you're not constantly comparing yourself to other people. I think that's what happens on social media.
I feel like you're able to live more freely within yourself.
You're not stressed, right? Like you're not, and you see it all the time. You see people there's people who are addicted to their phone. Like they must have their phone all the time. They can't miss a notification. It's
have to post every meal.
Yeah. Well, we talk
every
about
gym session.
We talk about that with these, because it's like you say, a lot of these guys, it's frustrating to try to take girls on dates, and the whole time she's worried about the setting.
Lighting.
She's taking pictures of the drinks, the plate, the waiter, the fireplace in the corner.
The name of the restaurant.
She's not paying no attention to you. The dude is sitting over there. The dude is sitting there. Are you enjoying the fruitcake, babe? She's not listening to you because she's worried about everything else. I pointed that out to you at a restaurant when one time we went out. I said, watch her. I pointed out to the young lady. It was hilarious. Every 2 seconds, she was fixing her hair and moving her phone and doing this. She was sitting there by herself. Because you told me you should go over there and talk to her. I said, no,
I don't remember all that.
Yes, you did. And I said, no. I said, just watch her. Give her 20 seconds. I said, you want me to talk to that lady? Just watch what she's doing. And every 2 seconds, she was looking at her phone. She was fixing it. She was taking a picture of the glass. She was doing this. She was doing that. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Walk over there. Excuse me. She'd be like, you're bothering me. I'm doing my social media. Leave me alone. That's what she would have told me.
God.
But anyway.
I don't know what she would have said.
But anyway, the last bullet point, do we create our own mental health issues by constant comparison? So with all that being said, the intro out of the way, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to pivot because I want to take this to you. What say you on this topic? The main question I want to ask you is, if you looked at the intro, the young lady said that societal pressure is for young ladies is enormous. What societal pressure is she talking about? Because I'll tell you, me as a man in his 40s, we have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, we don't know what societal pressure you're talking about. I don't understand. Elaborate, please.
Basically, back to what you were saying about comparing. We do a lot of that. Social media is an awful platform to compare yourself to because everyone's on there doing somewhat of the same thing. So you feel like because your life is not on that type of track that you have to keep up. For instance, girls are making all this money now on OnlyFans, and here you are being a civilized person working your 9 to 5 and you're struggling with your bills. But you feel like you should be doing more, especially as you get older. Speaking for myself, I feel like turning 30 is scary, and I'm 27 and I feel like I haven't experienced enough or been able to achieve enough at my age, because it's a lot of pressure to be 30. And I know people are like, oh, you're still in your prime. That's when you really start living life. That's when you really start, enjoying your money and everything like that. But it's just me and myself, what I want. I see myself having accomplished better things before that age. Like by 30, I want to already have a family and stuff like that. But
okay. All right. So a combination of factors.
Yeah.
The OnlyFans thing you mentioned, I can imagine how that can be frustrating, right? When you look at these girls and you're like, okay, so this girl may not have gone to school, may not have any training or anything like that. She just happens to be pretty and has got a heck of a social media following, and she's making $10,000, $12,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month taking pictures on OnlyFans. Now, just for some context, those women that you see that are making that kind of money are the extreme outliers. They're probably like the top 1% of women that are on that platform. Most of the women that are on those platforms they're making some money. They're not making a living wage, right? So that's just one thing to keep in context, because what I always talk about with social media is that what you're doing is you're looking at the highlights of somebody's life, right? You go there. They're not going to post the bad stuff up there. Well, some people will. So some people will go up there.
Social media is for everything.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that, because there's women on TikTok posting themselves in hospital beds to get clicks. So
stop.
I'm sorry.
It's not just chicks. It's everybody.
What
Everybody's doing the most on TikTok.
Are there men doing this? If they're men doing this, show me. I'll call them out. Show me. I'll call them out, because I see that. To me, I saw a girl do that. Remember the girl who posted? She was at her father's funeral.
No.
This girl on TikTok, she's at her dad's funeral and she's posting from the funeral. I'm like, oh, come on. Like,
there's no boundaries anymore.
It's now TikTok is a whole nother discussion. We're actually going to do a separate show on that, because there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike on TikTok that's going to hit in the United States. I'm telling y'all this, in 2023, mark my words, something big is going to happen with that platform. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's a lot of stuff bubbling under the surface, because at the end of the day, TikTok is owned by China. China would love nothing more than to degrade our society. That's what they've been doing. They've been open about it. They're telling you what they're doing. They're not hiding it, guys. They are not hiding it. They are telling you what they're doing. So why not proliferate all this negativity and stuff that's not really helpful? Not to say there's not some helpful stuff on TikTok, but I'm saying the more popular stuff, the stuff that gets pushed to the top, is stuff that you're talking about. Stuff that's making girls self-conscious, making them depressed, all these different things. So we'll cover TikTok on another show as a platform separately. But so what would you say for you and people your age group, girls that you know, people that you know, like what is the general mood? Do they feel? Because obviously we know that the economy's struggling. There's inflation that everybody's dealing with. Wages are not really moving to keep up with inflation. So what's the general mood amongst the people that you hang out with, like in terms of how they feel about just the way that their life is going?
People are struggling. Honestly, people are just trying to get by, and it's been really hard to try to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of changes has happened over the past year for people. Inflation did a number on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you make good money, you're still feeling it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everybody.
And people in my age group, I hang out with a lot of women who are independent.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of things for ourselves, and with everything going on financially, and it doesn't make you feel good about yourself. You're like, dang, I'm struggling. And then you feel like you're ugly now because you can't get your nails done or go get your hair done because you're broke, and it just sucks. And then you get on social media, you're like, oh, I wish I could get my hair done like hers, or, oh, look at her nails. Mm-hmm. Like she always got her nails done or something. So you start to feel insecure because you're not on point at that moment when you're used to living a certain lifestyle. But because things change, it starts to make you feel a little sad. Mm-hmm. Not saying that you're trying to like keep up with everybody or anything like that, but when you look good, you feel good.
Okay. Would it matter? Would it make a difference if I told you that most men like women who aren't made up?
Well, yeah, I know that. I'm just saying sometimes, but for ourselves, like for me, I colored my hair for myself. I didn't do it because I want a boy to like me. I just like to do my hair.
Okay. I just threw that in there because, ladies, I've been trying to tell my sister this for decades. Most men don't like all the stuff that you think that we like, all the fake hair and nails and the filler and the injections and all the stuff. Most men don't care. Most men really prefer a woman who doesn't do that.
But you want to know why, like, older women, let's say 40 plus, they're doing the fillers, the Botox, the microblading and all that stuff, is because they see, especially when you live in a certain type of area where you see a whole bunch of bougie and fashionable, like, women who keep themselves up, and you're like, dang, I'm getting old. Like, you start to see the changes in yourself. So you're like, I want to feel pretty. Like, I don't want my husband to leave me for this bombshell model girl. So you try to enhance to make yourself feel good and also be appeasing to others. I think that comes more so with age. You start to feel like that. Cause I know I have women that are in their mid 40s that I've spoken to, and they feel like that, especially when, you know, you've just been a mom your entire life and haven't really like found yourself or wanting a career, you just feel depressed.
Mhm.
And things start to, especially when you're around certain friends and families that live a certain lifestyle. They make better money than you. They get to travel all the time. Their kids went off to college to be doctors. So we do it to ourselves, but then also society doesn't help. So it's like a lose-lose situation sometimes when you're already feeling down and your environment around you makes you feel even worse.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. And to be fair to women, like you heard in the clip, and that young lady actually did a separate clip, which I need to take a look at, where she talked about men's mental health specifically, because let's just be honest, most of society don't care about men's mental health. Like,
well, I don't want to make this just about women.
I mean, no, but I'm telling you, for men, like the reality is nobody cares. That's how, like, that really is as simple as it is with
because
men.
Men are brought up to be, the breadwinner. He has to be the muscle in the home.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really have a soft moment because you're going to be deemed as a weak man or, yeah, but still, I know still men that feel like they have to be constantly on go and have everything together, and because they want a family and they have to be that person in the family. They're not allowed to sit down and cry that they didn't get the job that they wanted or money's not coming through the way they like it. They still got to just keep going. And it puts a lot of pressure, and those who don't know how to handle their mental illness get, besides themselves and either hurt themselves or start to have substance abuse or anger issues, any type of negative energy.
And we already know that men, unfortunately, take themselves out at a higher rate than women do, at a much higher rate, because of a lot of this stuff. Because what happens is for men, a lot of what you said is accurate. We're raised to just believe that we got to just keep going. Because guess what? If we crawl up in the corner and cry, nobody cares. I swear, they're just going to walk past you. What's wrong with him? Now, if a female crawls in the corner, somebody's going to come pick her up. Well, now that may go away because of feminism, and that may go away. But most women, when they're down and out, society looks to help. They don't do that for men. So this whole equality thing that women have been talking about, that's why I keep saying, y'all really don't want equality. You really don't. You really don't want society to treat you like they treat men. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you really want to get down to it, because women have a lot of lifelines available to them that men do not have in society, in general. So there's always outliers. There's always, scenarios where, yes, I know a guy who, I'm talking about in general. So, because I can tell you from my personal standpoint, I went through a life-changing scenario in 2019. Guess what? I already knew. I was mentally prepared. I was like, I got to do this on my own. I got to go through this on my own. Like, I already knew that. So there's no expectation. I think that's why, too, men are more hesitant to get on meds, too. Because it's kind of a sign of weakness to us.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sign. We're like, I got to get on pills to
be dependent on something to make me feel good.
Women, I understand. I get why you guys do it. I get why you guys, because it's like, if you take this, but we've seen people. I know a guy who didn't have his meds. He couldn't get his meds for whatever reason during the pandemic, and the dude was a different person. That's another reason I'm scared to take anything, because I'm like, I've seen what it can do to people. Like, people literally can become a different person if they don't have that medication. So my personal opinion, like, when it comes to getting treatment, like, if you think that you have some sort of mental illness, whatever it may be, we might bipolarism, schizophrenia, whatever it may be. If you think that you may have something, go see a medical professional first. Don't. And please.
It's not that easy. It's not that easy to do that. You feel embarrassed. You feel ashamed. And sometimes, a lot of the time when people are depressed, they don't want to talk to nobody and tell nobody about it, again, because they feel weak. They feel like, why am I?
But they'll go post it on social media. They'll go post.
Well, not everyone does that, though.
My life sucks so bad. I'm like,
Not everyone does that.
Not everyone. I'm just
and
saying.
Sometimes too, though, people may do that because they don't have a good support group around them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have good people to talk to and that understand you. And
absolutely.
Even if people don't like to have uncomfortable conversations, starting to learn that people do not like to have conversations that make them feel weird. Like, oh, you're getting too deep. That's too emotional. I don't want to talk about it. But it's something that I'm feeling, and I'm obviously feeling vulnerable around you to express myself. The least you can do is at least listen.
Yeah.
That's all it takes sometimes, is just somebody to listen. Like, you don't even have to say anything. You could just have your arm around that person and listen. And that goes a long way. It's one thing when you're listening and you have negative things to say. Well, everyone's going through something. This person's going through something worse, and this person, that person doesn't care about that. They care about what they have going on. And even if you can't understand it, or you wouldn't handle that particular situation the way that they are, that doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge how they're feeling about it.
Okay.
And try to help them. Sometimes it doesn't take much. Some people need a little bit more, like treatment and meds, but sometimes it just takes a positive support system. And it's hard for people to provide that because they don't understand. It's all about understanding it and acknowledging it and bringing awareness to it, because your best friend might be smiling and laughing and giggling, but goes home and just cries and wants to cut themselves.
Yeah.
After they just was hanging out with you.
Well, so in 2014, I believe it was, I was working at a company, and we had a young lady who came in. She was a fitness person. They were starting this, it was a health push at the company, and they brought in a young lady. She had her own, body boot camp company, and we hired her to come in, and I think it was twice a week. She was doing fitness routines. You could go, it was usually sometimes it was after work. Sometimes it was during the day. I saw people doing, because she would come in and do Pilates and stuff with ladies. Very attractive girl, super fit, bubbly personality. I mean, has her own company. On the outside looking in, this girl has everything. About a month after that started, we got unfortunate news at that company that she had taken her own life. Nobody knows why. The only thing we saw was the obituary, and the girl was like 27 years old. It's tragic. And it made you realize, like, you never know. You hear me say this a lot. You never know what people are going through.
Exactly.
You never know what someone's going through. So you have to be, I believe you have to be very, especially if you're in a relationship with someone, right? Two things need to happen. If you believe you have some sort of mental illness that may impact the relationship, that needs to be addressed immediately. Don't let it fester. Don't let it boil. Don't let your partner go through what you're going through, because what you're going to do is you're going to bring that person right down into the gutter with you. And and you know what happens? That person loves you, so they're going to go. Isn't that weird? Isn't that wild? This is the crazy thing about mental illness, is people who are mentally ill sometimes forget. I don't know that they forget, but it's subconscious, that the person that's next to them, that's right there with them, is really probably the only person who's really willing to go through the dirt with them at the end of the day. And that's the person that they hurt the most.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it make sense. That's the person that they hurt the most. It's a crazy thing. Everyone else may have abandoned by now, right? Like, everybody else might have jettisoned and they're gone. And now you're the rock. I'm gonna be here for. And this is on both sides. This is not a sex thing. This is male and female. Like, there's relationships are relationships at the end of the day. So I believe it's incumbent upon you. And if you know you have some sort of issue, like, you've heard people say this, I've heard people say this. I don't still know what's wrong with me. All right. Until you figure out what's wrong with you, don't get into a relationship. Is that hard to do? Like,
yes, it is that hard to do.
Why? I'm confused by this.
We all know people don't like to be alone, and they don't want to be feeling how they feel and be alone at the same time.
So then let me get into a relationship and drag this person down into my malaise. That's selfish. That's selfish, guys, in my opinion.
Do selfish things when you're feeling away because you just want to feel good, regardless of consequences. Okay. And that's just because it's mental illness.
Fair enough. Good points.
Doesn't make it right.
Good point.
That's why people do it.
I'm going to read to you guys. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but I'm going to share these links in the description box. These are all good articles. I recommend you read them. But I took a look at how social media, this is an article from thriveworks.com. It says how social media affects women's mental health, negatives and positives. First of all, 72% of the American population is on social media. So that's basically 2/3 of us, basically. Almost, and I bet you most of the people who aren't on it are the older folks who, I don't want no Instagram. Women are use it primarily. You guys are way more into social media than guys. You guys are better at using it than we are. But this article talks about how it's actually benefits and it's mostly positive and negative for women. Like they get most benefits, but they also get the most drawbacks from it. Probably because like guys are.
I think that's for everybody though.
Huh?
That's for everyone though, because you can use social media for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to share these links. This one, it talks about the link between social media and depression. I am convinced that what has happened, and I'll just put my 2 cents on this, and I could be totally wrong, and you share it in the comments. Tell us if I'm wrong. I believe what has happened is that a lot of this societal pressure, I think is self-inflicted. I think that people are putting too much pressure on themselves to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way, all these different things because they're seeing these things on social media and they think it was like the discussion I was talking about with Amina about the dating dynamics and how they're all messed up because you have a guy who in his heart of hearts, he's a good dude, right? And he wants to save all of his lunch money so that he can take this girl out to get a hot dog next week. But he's worried that if he does that, he's going to be called a simp by all the people on social media. So now you have guys that are terrified to do anything nice for their lady. Guys, this is what's going on. I'm telling you. Yeah. I'm telling you what's going on with the dudes. I've talked to enough young dudes now where I have enough information to actually make these statements. Guys, we adore women as much as we ever have. Unfortunately, we are now being painted into a scenario where we don't even want to be nice to you anymore because you're going to go out there, you're going to put us on blast, you're going to screenshot our text messages and send them to other dudes. This is the stuff the chicks are doing, guys. This is why people are like, no one's genuine anymore. This is why relationships are dying. This is why nobody's real anymore. It used to be a lot simpler than this.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
This doesn't have to be that hard.
It ain't that hard. Like in my era, it wasn't that hard. It was literally like, okay, you like her, she likes you, let's roll. What? Why is it so complicated now? Why is it all? You know why? It's because of social media. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's why I've said many times, if you're with a woman who's on social media, she's not totally with you. She's not. I'm sorry, she's not. She's constantly going to be comparing you to that one, this one, this one, that one, this one. And she's got 19 dudes in her DMs at the same time. You can
still be feeling yourself on Instagram and not be paying attention to any of these dudes.
You can, but how many women have that strong mental fortitude to do that? Because most of the time what happens, y'all get mad at your dude. I got all kind of dude in my DM anyway.
No, that's like, why no.
So I'm just saying, this is the narrative that's being perpetuated in social media. It could not be true. I don't know. I'm just saying, the younger dudes who I have spoken to have told me, they told me straight up, bro, these girls out here, bad. Like, I mean, I had a young dude showing me texts from a chick that she sent to him that she had sent him from another dude. And the dude could tell the dude really liked the girl. And I'm like, why would you do that to the dude? Like, if you're not feeling the dude, just delete the text. Like, why you got to do that to the guy? Why you got to put him on blast? So that it will bubble up your likes. So you could post it up, talk about what about when some dudes send you this. So it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. But anywho, now there was one more thing I wanted to discuss before we. I
want to throw in there also how there's a difference of mental health awareness in white families versus Black families. I feel like
how so?
White families, they're like, oh, I'll get you a therapist. We can work through this together. How are you feeling? They try to come in your room and talk to you and, I'll do anything. They'll buy the meds for you if you need it.
Yeah.
They put in an effort. And Black families, like, what you feeling like that for? What are you depressed for? You have food on your table. You have a bed to sleep in. You know, you have friends you hang out with. You don't have to have any of these things. There's kids that, and it's just like, dang, I was just telling you I was feeling a little bit sad. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be about what you have materialistically. It doesn't have to. It's all about here.
Sure.
That doesn't matter. And because, you know, I'm of color and have friends that also feel the same way about certain things, that they felt like growing up they couldn't talk to their parents about certain things, like they kind of dealt with it on their own, because for one, you're confused, you don't know this feeling, you don't know why you're feeling like this anyway, so you go to the next source, which is your parents, and then you get like shut down about it, so it makes you very closed-minded about your feelings, which later on creates emotional traumas that you now are an adult dealing with, that you could have probably gotten checked by talking to somebody early on.
That's a really good point. As a parent, and parents, listen to your kids. Okay, when they come to you and they want to talk to you, and you can kind of tell, you know, your kid's not quite right, and something's bothering them. Maybe you have to go to them even, right? Say, hey, is there something you want to talk about? Something bothering you? Let them talk. The same goes for relationships. Like, I believe if you are in a relationship with somebody, what I wholeheartedly believe is that person has to be your bastion of last resort. So if you're feeling terrible, if you cannot go to that person who's your partner, significant other, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, if you can't go to that person and say, I'm just not into it, I don't feel myself, I don't know what's wrong with me, and that person is not going to listen to you and do everything in their power to help you, get away from that person immediately. That's not the one for you. Walk away from that person right now. Walk away from them today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till the next day. Do it now. If you go to them and you tell them, I'm feeling a certain way about these things, and they do what you just said, leave. Leave right now. Just say, okay, you know what I'm out. This is not, no, okay. So you're going to double down and make me feel terrible about it?
I feel like that's the biggest red flag you should take into consideration.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows communication is key, and you have to have, again, uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. And if it's your significant other, it's incumbent upon them to listen. This is what I understand, that I'm old school. I get it. And I know that a lot of the stuff that I'm saying may not fly. Like, there may be people talk that I ain't doing all of that. Then what you in a relationship for, bro?
A lot of relationships and friendships are one-sided. Like, so it's like you have a friend, like I'm definitely that go-to friend where you can come to me and talk to me. I might be sad and crying my eyes out, but I'm going to listen to you because you're my friend. And I feel like I want to be genuine enough to tell you, you know, help you out with your emotions, because I would want you to do the same for me. And sometimes you don't have friends like that, though. You have friends that come to you when they're sad or they're going through it. Can I vent? Let me tell you this? And when you're feeling down, you talk to that person and you don't get the same type of vibe, the same energy. And it's just like, dang, well, now I know.
I've
so
had that
don't
happen.
even come to me if you can't do the same for me. It's not nice.
Yeah, you have somebody who they might be down and out, right? And you're doing an extra effort. You're checking up on them and you're seeing how they're doing and this and that. But then they get on their feet. Now, you might be down and out. You don't get that same reciprocation. I know exactly what you're talking about on that.
Sometimes it just takes a text. It doesn't have to be a long conversation. Right. It doesn't have to be a FaceTime phone call. Just be like, hey, how you feeling today? Or how you been? Or how did your week go?
Sounds fair to me. Now, let me ask you this, because this is a key bullet point that I wanted to talk to you about. And we talked about this on the text. Unfortunately, there's a portion of society that's using mental health as an excuse for their bad behavior, their bad decision making, things that they've done, things that they have done that, you know, is awful, or they didn't perform up to a certain standard, or whatever the case may be. And they say, and then they go on social media and they look for the sympathy of, I have mental health issues, this and that. Do you really? Because I spoke to a gentleman today who's seen real mental health. He has a family member who cannot take care of themselves. The person has to live in a facility because their mental illness is that severe. They can't do the daily tasks that normal human beings can do. That's mental health. That's a mental health problem that requires clinical help. So when you go out here and you say these things, it's mental health, and you're kind of making a mockery of the people who are really dealing with serious mental health, because there's a portion of the population that has serious mental health issues. And if you're going to use it as a punchline for, you see people say, I'm crazy anyway, or there's some wrong. I don't know what's wrong. I've had somebody tell me that in my face. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, you need to find out then.
That's just about getting attention. Sometimes people just want any type of attention, even if it's negative, like, oh, haha, I'm crazy. Like, no. But then a lot of people who really, really struggle with depression, bipolarism, extreme anxiety, they shut down. They don't talk about it as much. They might like share a sad post or something like that, but they're not actually telling their whole problem as to why they are feeling the way they are feeling, or what they're doing on a daily basis. So people that are just putting too much out there, it's like, well, it does make you question, well, are you really feeling like that, or are you just doing it because it's going to bring some type of attention? You know, somebody's going to feel sorry for you.
Oh, you mean like when Chrissy Teigen and John Legend put pictures after their child died in the hospital, and they were taking pictures immediately and putting them online? The lady was still sitting in the freaking hospital room. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing? Are you exploiting the death of your baby to get clicks and likes?
There's different ways to bring
that where we are,
though?
Like, is that where we are, guys? I'm asking here because it troubles me what I'm seeing here. It really does. When I see people posting stuff from funerals, hospital beds, and all these things, what's going on? Like, is it that important?
Because you know you're going to most definitely get some type of feedback.
Sure. You're going for the shock value. It's just like
someone's going to tell you something that's going to make you like smile or feel good. That you're just looking. It's just about looking for attention.
And then some of them apparently are fake.
From others. Yeah.
Validation from strangers. I like to throw that in, right? It's crazy to me how much emphasis people will put on their social media profiles, things that most of those people are strangers. You don't even know these people. You don't know the likes. Who cares? You don't know who they are. You know what? Anything that I've ever posted on social media, I don't even know how to check if they got likes or not. Like, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Some people, it didn't get as many likes as the last one. There's a documentary. I'll find it. And it was a YouTube documentary where the young girl was talking about how social media, props to this girl. She was only like 24 and she figured it out already. She figured out what social media was doing to her. She was she started being hypercritical of herself because let's say she posts a selfie on Monday and it got 5,000 likes. She posts a selfie on Tuesday and it got 4,000 likes. She blamed herself. She thought it was something she did wrong. She thought she had her face turned the wrong way. She thought there wasn't enough lighting. She didn't use the right filter. That's the societal pressure I think that women are putting on themselves.
We've lost a lot of confidence in ourselves.
Yes.
Like, oh, this picture did numbers. I got 1,000 likes. Oh, yeah, it makes you feel yourself. Like, dang, I am really cute then. Or whatever.
Whereas we don't even do this, guys, because we don't expect no one to like we just don't. Like, I mean, maybe there's some guys that do.
Well, guys be on Instagram posting their bands and watches and iced out chains.
Yeah,
and
they're doing that for us though. Like that's the thing with guys.
Oh yeah. Oh, see, that's another topic. Topic. Men flossing out for men.
Yes,
that's a whole nother discussion.
I'm glad you get it because
duh.
Make no mistake, the dudes you see that are counting bands, okay, with the dudes that come in the strip club and get a box of $1 bills, they're doing that for the dudes. It is not for the chick. It is not.
Watching around, making sure every dude in the club looking like, you see.
They be looking at you. They're looking at your table to make sure you're looking. So when they start throwing the money, I've seen this happen. I've seen it happen. Dudes floss for other dudes. Now, women are a byproduct of it.
The real females, because I have homegirls, the real females, we don't care. Like, we think you're corny doing all that. Like, you're lame. You're just like everybody else in the club.
So wait,
like,
so y'all
something else.
So that's not impressive to y'all? I'm asking.
I feel like it's corny for a guy to be in the club. Like, we don't even have to be in a strip club, a regular club, just having bands out and like, it's just, what you doing all that for? So when somebody rob you, that's your fault.
He's shouting from the rooftops.
You asked for it.
look what I got.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, rappers have been killed for this. They flash bands on. Who was a kid? He was flashing bands on Instagram, and then he went to the studio, and they killed him when he got to the studio. Mm-hmm. Like within an hour, like literally within an hour. Because in the video you could tell he was in his car, and he had dough and money in the car. So they're like, "Oh, he's got money in his car." They followed him to the studio and killed him.
There's been a lot of I know how you were saying like celebrities and stuff saying they have mental illness and all this, but there are a lot that have been losing their lives to mental illness. Like you think like this person that has a successful career, has all this money, big name, everything, you know, all these people around them showing them mad love, and then but they're still sad. Mm-hmm. And they have people I know that they talk to they can get a therapist tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's some things just don't help, and they abuse. Most of these rappers and artists abuse a lot of heavy, controlled substances because there's still a void that they're trying to fill, and sometimes the glitz and glam can be too much. For them, and they're still trying to like be a person that's now a big person that they didn't used to be, and it's like. Becomes too much. Like, yeah, you might have it all, but still it's a lot of daily pressure. Like you have to be on point at all times.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting topic, interesting debate. We're bumping up against the time, so we're going to wrap it up. I am going to leave these articles. There's 3 or 4 articles I'm going to leave in the description box. Take a look at them, guys, because I really think that this needs to be a broader discussion. I think it's a huge topic in this country, mental health and how it relates to social media and all of those things. And how can we find happiness outside of this? You know, how can we find happiness if we're not getting the clicks and the likes and all of those things? You know, how do we find happiness? I believe it's by, and I'll repeat it over and over again, get in shape, get some hobbies. Do those 2 things. That's for the men, specifically women too. Get in shape, get in the gym. Working out is a great elixir for stress. It's a great elixir. It's when you're feeling bad, you're feeling down, go to the gym. It works. Now it takes work. You actually have to go there and do something. I know some of y'all are lazy. You don't want to do it, but make yourself do it. Do that. Find a hobby. Find something you enjoy doing that doesn't involve social media. Find something that you enjoy doing.
You start writing in a journal. I know it sounds corny, but it helps.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
To write your thoughts. Sometimes it's like, okay. Because you might not have a person to talk to. You just write it down.
Nothing wrong with that. Find an outlet is what I'm saying. That doesn't depend on you checking your phone to see if you got the 13th like on the photo that you posted this morning. I don't think it's that important. I think people are putting too much emphasis on it. And I think we need to find ways to make ourselves happy, because other people can't make you happy. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Other people cannot make you happy. Not even your partner. It's impossible. It's up to you to find happiness. You hear people all the time, I just can't make her happy. I just can't. Nope. You can't. So stop. That's simple. With that being said, we're going to wrap up the discussion. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No.
All right. Ayana will be back. You know, people are going to start requesting her again. There's some good topics coming up. It's been real quick before we sign off. It's been a great year. We've only had the podcast going for 4 months. Our YouTube channel is doing well for the time that it's been out. It's actually, if we look at our analytics, it's doing pretty well. We got to get our Anchor rolling though, guys. I need y'all on Anchor. We get the audio on Anchor. I mean, I know it's a little bit not as interactive, but I'm trying to build a little bit of a profile there as well. But so far, again, thank all of you guys. We've only been live since August the 23rd. Things are going very well for us, so we're going to keep grinding, keep putting out the content for you. I know there's been a few comments that people have said that the show is boring. I just want to say one thing.
Y'all are boring.
I want to say one thing on that. If you're still watching at the 43-minute mark, this show is not a shock value show. So if you think that you're going to tune in here and I'm going to be kicking girls out of the house and I'm going to be roasting girls at the table and all that, we're not doing that over here. We're not doing that. So
this is a show for people with high IQs only.
It's at the end of the day, it's an entrepreneurial show, and we want to talk about important topics. Yes, we cover some of the fun stuff too, but this is not what that show is. If you're looking for something like that, we will have debate shows. We will have shows where we have fun, right? We'll have two people on and we'll debate topics, but the essence of the show is to help people. We're not here to just create more mindless stuff to go viral. That's what I say to that. So, but we appreciate the feedback, guys. Any comment is a good comment. Like and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you next time. We're out.